Come here. Kawartha Art Gallery presents an online permanent collection exhibit for 2020 called Art and Nature, Our Environment in Images and Words. The exhibit features selected works from the permanent collection with complementary works of poetry and prose from the Kawartha Lake Circle of Writers. The exhibit is co-curated by Janet Smith, Rosemary Condon, and Joan Forsyth. The exhibit runs from October 5th until October 23rd. And it's a pleasure to introduce co-curator for the exhibit, Janet Smith. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you very much, Susan.
We have some questions for you today as we have our co-curator circle about the exhibit. And the first question is, what was the appeal for you in doing an exhibit based on the gallery's permanent collection?
This goes back a long number of years. In 1982, I was asked to come on the board of governors of the gallery, and 25 years later, having been on the board and president for a number of those years, I learned all the ins and outs and aspects of the gallery, the permanent collection, saw the growth of it over the years as well. And when Susan and I had a co-chair curatorial meeting, we talked about the permanent collection exhibit for this year, and this was pre-COVID-19 lockdown. And we decided that would be a fine idea to put the permanent collection on the walls again this year for an exhibit. And because the gallery is a community gallery and we look out to the community, to other art-centered groups, we decided that it would be maybe a good idea to involve someone else as well and broaden this whole perspective. 2 times before I have done the permanent collection, curated a permanent collection exhibition with other people, and it's just been the pieces on the walls, and people come in and see them, and that type of thing, whereas it seemed timely to bring in somebody else. And so, knowing about the Circle of Writers, which meets in this Lindsay Library, part of the City of Kawartha Lakes library system, we decided that that would be a good idea to call on them, because it would be a good fit, because we could have the paintings. The writers could look at these, they could get inspired by what they're looking at, they could choose a painting they wanted to write a poem or a short piece of work about. And this has turned out to be a very fine put together hero marriage, if you like.
Well said, Janet. Thank you. What outcomes do you hope will come out of the Art and Nature exhibit?
Owing to the fact now that we're online, this is going to bring this to a much wider audience. And it's going to be not only educational for a lot of people who would normally not see any of our permanent collection, but it's going to be enjoyable for them as well. And I think the outcome that I would hope for is that when we do open back up, although we are open part-time, that more people will come in to view the pieces that are on the walls, and also to, in the future, possibly join the gallery. And because our permanent collection has some very significant artists represented in it, it would be most enjoyable for people to know about these artists and why they were doing these things. That's another reason why we called it environment as well, because the environment now is so important, and we do have a number of pieces that certainly speak to the environmental issues that we're facing today.
Well, thank you, Janet. So my last question to you is, what are your favorite pieces in the gallery's permanent collection? Not just this exhibit, but in the entire collection.
I'm glad you said pieces, because there are several. One of them being the one directly behind me by Arthur Schilling called Clothesline, which has always appealed to me because, not only because of the colors, but also because of the fact that these women are all together. They're sharing their stories or their lives and one thing and another while they're putting, well, the traditional, putting out the clothes on the clothesline. But it probably goes even deeper than that, but I don't know, there's just something that always appealed to me about that piece. Another one is a more recent one, and that is this beautiful piece by Robert Milner, which is the Outrageous Moraine, where he stood at the top and looked down on the moraine, which is very close to Lindsay, just to the south of us, and very easily accessible if anybody wanted to go there. It's only about I think, less than a kilometer to walk in and stand and look over the land, the sky, and what it looks like now, and hopefully what it will continue to look like into the future. It's a very beautiful piece. I'm also very fond of a lot of the abstract pieces that are in the permanent collection, and I think those are probably my favorites of all.
Well, that's interesting. Thank you, Janet. And I can just mention that the Robert Milner piece can be viewed on the gallery's virtual tour, which is now up on our website, and that the Schilling piece, Clothesline, is in the exhibit. So I want to thank you for your time. And I think what we'll do now is I'm going to get you to move, and we'll bring in Rosemary Condon, who co-curated the exhibit with you.